Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Lillian. So today we'll be learning how to make this crop top or neck. If you're yet to subscribe, please endeavor to subscribe. Turn on the notification bell. What we'll be needing for today's tutorial, we'll be needing about a yard of any fabric that is a bit stretchy, and then we'll be needing button. Okay, so I have about a dozen here. So let's get started. Okay guys, so the first thing we are going to do for this style, from the top of your paper like this, just come down by 2 inches. Then get your ruler, create a line. Okay, then label as your top line. Then label this place as your center front. This is the front pattern. So when we are done with that, the next thing we are going to do, we are going to get our chest line. So for this particular pattern that we are drafting, we won't be using our normal chest line. Okay, you know our chest line is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inch. But for this particular one, we are going to add additional 1 inch. So my normal chest line is 7.5. So I'm going to add extra 1 inch. So I'm going to be using 8.5 as my chest line. So whatever your chest line is, add extra 1 inch just like I'm doing now. So when you're done, create a line and then label as your chest line. So the next thing we are going to do, we are going to impute our bust points. Take your measurement from your shoulder to your bust point and then take it down. Mine is 10. I'm going to mark at 10 as my bust point line here. I'm going to use my ruler to make a line from my bust points. And I'm going to label as my bust points. Okay, so the next step, we are going to measure from your shoulder to your waist. So whatever it is a crop top. My shoulder to waist is 16, so I'll be adding extra 1 inch for hemming. So when you're done with that, the next thing we're going to do, we are going to impute our neckline. So to do that, you're going to go inward from your center front by 3.5 inches. Okay, and then you're going to come down by 3 inches also. And then you're going to take your ruler, just connect both points together like this. Okay, so after connecting, impute your shoulder line. Your shoulder line divide by 2. So mine is 7. On the top line, I'm just going to go inward by 7, then come down to my chest line, then add the 7 inches, then create a line. Okay, so when you're done, come down by 1 inch. The rest of the process is actually our normal way of drafting basic bodice. Connect it back to the neckline like this. Okay, so when you're done with that, get the midpoint. This is 7.5, so I'm going to fold my tape to that 7.5. Okay, this is it. So whatever I have left, I'm going to tick that point. So this is now the midpoint. So from that point, I'm going to go inward by 0.5 inches like this. Okay, then I'll create a line like this and then connect it back to my armhole like this. Okay, when you're done with this, next thing you're going to do, you're going to get our round bust circumference divided by 4. So whatever yours is, mine is 9 inches, so I'm going to go in by 9. Okay, when you're done with that, then come back to your waistline, your waist circumference divided also by 4. Mine is 7, then I'm going to go in by 7, then add extra 1 inch as my sewing allowance, then come over to the chest line, add extra 1 inch as your sewing allowance. So when you're done doing that, connect both points together. Okay, the next thing we are going to be doing, we are going to add our dart leg. Not like we are adding waist dart, we just want to use it as guideline. So go inward by whatever you use as your dart. Mine is 4, so I'm going to go inward by 4 like this. I'm going to create my dart line. Like I said, we are not using waist dart, we just want to use it as guideline for our side darts. So the next thing I'm going to do, from the bust point, like whatever you use as your side dart, mine is 1.5. So from this point, you're just going to come down by whatever inches you use as your side dart. So I'm going to come down by 1.5. And then I'll connect it back to the bust point like this. Okay. So the next thing we are going to do, on the shoulder line, we are going to go out by 1.5 inch like this. In order to create this particular style, I want you to go out. Remember, we added 1 inch to our chest line, so go out by 1 inch. Also, we are just using this as guideline, so go out by 1 inch. This is our original chest line. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do, you're going to connect from this point to your chest line. Okay, so why I want us to come out by 1 inch is this point. You need to be careful when you are using your curve ruler so that you don't end up having the side of your bust showing after sewing. So all you need to do from this point, you're going to connect back to your chest line like this. So go away a little from this shoulder line. Okay, so connect it like this. Okay, so when you are done connecting, this is it. The next thing you're going to do, you're going to fold your side darts like this, just like I'm pinning now. No longer straight, so I need to straighten it up. I'm going to open up, and then whatever I have there, I'm just going to trace it out like this. So I'm just going to trace it out like this. I'm going to trace it out like this. Okay. So when you're done doing that, the next thing we are going to do, we're going to add half inch for the neckline. The same thing on the armhole like this. Just add half inches as your sewing allowance. So when you're done doing that, just get your ruler, connect the points together like this. So guys, when you are done with that, the next thing we are going to do, we are going to just cover your side darts. When you're done, use your paper tape and then tape it like this. When you're done doing that, the next thing we are going to do, we are going to cut out. But before we cut out, let's include our interfacing, because we are going to be using interfacing. So what we are going to do now, at this point, I'm just going to come down by 2 inches like this. Okay, so I'm going to come down by 2 inches, and then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to come down by 2 inches also here, and then I'm just going to connect it like this. Okay, so I'm using this as my interfacing. Okay, so just connect it like this. Okay, so when you're done connecting, the next thing you're going to do, you're going to trace out this interfacing before cutting out. So just go ahead and trace out your interfacing like this. So we're just tracing out the interfacing like this. Okay, so when you're done tracing that out, then you can go ahead and then cut out your pattern. So this is it for the front pattern. I'm just going to go ahead and then label it as front. So this is it for the front pattern. So all you need to do, go ahead and trace out the interfacing we already used tracing with for. So when you're done doing it, just cut it out like this. So when you're done cutting it out, to avoid you being confused, label it as your shoulder, and then this is the side, then this is the center front. Just use C here. So this one will serve as our interfacing. So this is it for the front. So let's go ahead and then draft out the back pattern first. So the first thing we are going to do, just like we did on the front, come down by 2 inches. Okay, remember this is the back pattern, so you're going to label as center back, then label as top line. Okay, so when you're done with that, go in by 1.5 inch. We'll be needing that for zip allowance. So when you're done, use your ruler, then create a line. So when you are done with that, the next thing we are going to do, we are going to create our neckline. So to do that, remember for the front, we went in by 3.5 inch. So you do the same thing for the back, 3.5 inch, and then come down by 1.5 inch, and then connect both points like this. Create your chest line. So your chest line plus 1 inch. Okay, so when you're done, create a line, and then label your chest line, and then get your shoulder to waist measurement for the back. Go down by 9 inches. Create a line like this. Okay, I am going to label as my waistline. So the next thing we are going to do, we are going to impute our shoulder measurement. Just go in shoulder measurement, divide by 2. Then I'm going to go ahead and then connect both points like this. Okay, like I said, it's the same thing with the front. Come down by 1 inch like this, and then connect to neckline. Impute your round bust circumference. Okay, it's the normal way, divide it. So whatever you have, mine is 9. So I'm going to add 9 here. Then on my waistline also, I'm going to do the same thing. Then add 1 inch as my sewing allowance. Then do the same thing here on my chest line. Then connect both lines together. So we are going to come out by 1 inch. Like I said, we are using this as guideline. The next thing you are going to do, find your midpoint. To find the midpoint, I'm just going to fold my tape to half. You're just going to get the midpoint. I'm going to take this place and then come in by 1/2 inch. Okay, so I'm going to create a line like this and connect back to this point. Okay, remember our shoulder line for the front, we use 1.5 inch. So for the back, you're going to do the same thing, 1.5 like this. Then for that point, we're going to connect it back to our chest line. We connect it back to that 1.5 inch like this. We are done with that. We are going to add our zip allowance. So go add by 1 inch. When you're done doing that, get your ruler, then connect the lines. When you're done, get your arm hook off, then blend the neckline together like this. Just blend like this, then connect it back to your waistline. So the next thing we are going to do, we are adding zip, so you don't want to avoid that bulge effect. We are going to go in by 1/2 inch like this on the waistline. So we're going to connect it like this. Extend your shoulder, extend your chest line, and then connect it like this. We are going to connect it back to our original chest line. Okay, remember this was our original chest line. For this particular style, that was why we added extra 1 inch. So connect the zip allowance back to the original chest line like this. Okay, so when you're done doing that, this is our zip allowance. Okay, when you're done doing that, so the next thing we are going to do, we are going to add 1/2 inch. Okay, so just like we did for the front, I'm going to come down by 2 inches from this point. Then do the same thing here, come down by 2 inches, and then just like we did also, just connect it back like this. Okay, so when you're done doing that, then trace the interfacing out before cutting. So after tracing out, add 1 inch like this as allowance for hemming, and then add that 1 inch like this, then connect the lines together, then cut out. So this is it for the back. I'm going to label back. Just label as the back. So we are going to trace out the interfacing for the back out. So when you're done tracing out, remember this is the back. Okay, label as the back pattern, and then this is the center back. Okay, this is the shoulder, and then this is the side. Then go ahead and then cut out. So guys, when you're done cutting out, this is it. This is the back pattern, and this is the interfacing for the back. Okay, and this is our front pattern, and this is the interfacing also for the front pattern. So now we are going to go ahead and then cut out on our fabrics. Place your fabric on fold, then place the front pattern. I'm going to just secure it with pin like this. Okay, so when you're done doing that, you're just going to go ahead and then cut out. Okay, so when you're done cutting out for the front, so the front pattern now, so we are going to go ahead and then cut out the back pattern also. We're going to cut out the back pattern, so just place your back. Make sure your fabric is actually folded also. Remember, we are cutting 2 for the back. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and then secure my pattern. Cut out. So when you are done cutting, this is the back. So we are going to go ahead and cut interfacing for the front interfacing. Place your fabric on fold also, and then I'm just going to go ahead and secure it. Okay, so this is it. We are going to go ahead and then cut out. Okay, so this place is on fold. This is it for the center front that's facing. This place is on fold, which is the center front. So guys, we are going to go ahead and then cut out the interfacing for the back. So for the back, we are cutting 2 pieces. So when you're done securing it, just cut out like. So guys, so these are all the pattern, including the interfacing. So what we are going to do now, for the front pattern, I want you to notch the center like this. Just notch it a little, not too much. Also at the down, notch like this also. Thank you so much for watching. So if you want to see how I put this whole piece together to have this final look, please check out the link on the description box. If you're here to subscribe, endeavor to subscribe, turn on the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching.